So Hatman made a video the other day titled "The Deontay Wilder Circus is Back in Town." Now that's a very appropriate video and title because it's true. Deontay Wilder and his aura of idiocy and his minions, they have made a comeback. But this video is about Floyd Mayweather because his circus has also made a comeback. And this is, of course, in the lead up to Mayweather's fight, if you can call it that, with or against Logan Paul, rather. And seeing as this fight was announced, and it does actually seem to be going ahead and happening in real life, it's not a dream. Many people are asking the question, why is Floyd Mayweather ruining his legacy? And this is, of course, this isn't something that Floyd Mayweather is a stranger to. He, of course, fought McGregor back in August 2017. He fought that Japanese guy, Tenshin, I believe his name is. I think that was in December 2018 or 2019. I think it was 2018. New Year's Day, maybe, or New Year's Eve. So Floyd Mayweather, he's no stranger to these wacky circus events. That's the only way to refer to them. He's no stranger to them. But only now people are starting to really ask the question, why is he doing this? Surely it's going to be to the detriment of a legacy that he worked so hard over decades to create for himself. And I just want to take this opportunity, rather than analyze a gross mismatch, which people can obviously see, I want to explore some of the possible reasons as to why Floyd feels it's necessary to continue these post-retirement escapades. And so I do have some notes in front of me, but I'm going to be largely freestyling. I want to try to keep it as succinct as possible. So the first reason is probably one that most people would probably cite, is that he loves money. And of course, the clue's in the name, really. He referred to himself as Money Mayweather for many years. And he very famously said, I think it was back in 2009, that legacy doesn't pay the bills. I can't remember the guy he was debating with, but it was over the failure to make the Pacquiao fight around 2009 or 10. So Mayweather is famously put money first. And that is one of the criticisms of him from many objective boxing observers. So this is someone who prioritized money, finance over true greatness and true legacy to be revered like the champions of the past. Some other people also cite a similar reason, that Mayweather is going broke. Personally, I don't feel that this one holds as much weight, personally, because Mayweather does seem to live a very money-loving, money-spending lifestyle, the high life. But I think I've seen it. I mean, all you have to do is take one glance at Mayweather's Instagram and you see that the strip clubs and the strippers and this and that and the investments he has. Personally, I don't think he's going broke. I do believe that he loves money, though. But personally, for me, I don't think that is the sole reason. Because, of course, everyone knows he can make a lot of money fighting a YouTuber, fighting a UFC fighter. He could fight a man in a car park and it would most likely sell because of the morbid curiosity of seeing him. And that, of course, equals big figures. Second reason is he just loves boxing. And you often hear this reason cited for boxers that have gone on for too long. And, they're addicted to the bug, the boxing bug. They love the feeling of preparing for a fight, training for a fight, locking themselves away, going through grueling training camps, and then fighting at the end of that training camp. And of course, when you are someone like a Floyd Mayweather who hasn't known anything else, Floyd Mayweather came from, a tough background, a background where there wasn't really much in abundance other than probably crime. And so he, of course, come from a boxing family. He was born into boxing. You Google boxing, and you'll most likely see a picture of Floyd Mayweather. He is boxing through and through. And so, of course, that never really leaves you, especially when you're in a sport for as long as Mayweather is or has been. It's going to be difficult to shake it. Sometimes the training, just sparring, it doesn't scratch that itch. You have to get back in there and fight. But that also doesn't hold as much weight, because if you really love boxing that much and you love fighting that much, why go for Logan Paul, a YouTuber? It seems to be that every time Floyd Mayweather has these strange circus type fights, the ability level of his opposition gets lower and lower. He started with Conor McGregor, a very accomplished mixed martial artist, went down to Tenshin, who I must admit I don't know much about, but just going based on that performance, which looked like a dive to me, the ability level between Tenshin and McGregor looked vast. But now there's Logan Paul, so you see this decline in the level of Floyd Mayweather's opposition. So that takes me to the third point, because the first two I don't think quite cut it. The third one is he loves himself. And now, I think to the objective observers, this is no surprise, but I want to take a deeper dive into this, because it's easy to say someone loves themselves. They love to see themselves on TV. That's enough for them to want to carry on fighting. But see, the thing is, Floyd Mayweather seems to have some very narcissistic traits. And I want to preface this section of the video by saying this is not hating on Floyd. I'm not trying to rag on him. I'm trying to provide my insight to a question that a lot of people are asking. And as such, we're going to assess the character of the person in question. And I have a definition here from a good book, just very suitably named Psychology by Professor G. Neil Martin, in case you want to Google it. And there's a section that I've extracted, and it goes as follows. Narcissists have a highly inflated sense of self, have unrealistic views of their ability, positive views that is, or selves, are exhibitionists, attention-seeking, overly concerned with the way they look, and have little interest in forming long-term interpersonal relations, but exploit short-term relationships to bolster their positive self-image or status. And now, I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I read that, I thought, this is Floyd Mayweather in a nutshell. Because if we look at that, have unrealistic positive views of their ability or selves. I remember a time when Floyd Mayweather was on, I can't remember which channel, which program it was, but the host, they got him to give his top 5 best fighters, greatest fighters of all time. And who did he put first? Who did he put before Muhammad Ali? Above Muhammad Ali? Who did he put above Roy Jones, above all the great fighters of yesteryear? He put himself. Exhibitionist. What was the Conor McGregor fight? What was the Tenshin fight? What is the Logan Paul fights? It's an exhibition. It draws the attention, which is the next point, attention seeking, overly concerned with the way they look, and have little interest in forming long-term personal relations. You could see that, say, Muhammad Ali, or any great fighter of the past, any truly all-time great fighter of the past, once they have that all-time great status, they're revered in the sport, the history of the sport, the culture of the sport. That is their long-term relationship with the people, the boxing public, sometimes the world, if you transcend the sport as Muhammad Ali did. Floyd Mayweather doesn't seem to care about that. He said it from his own mouth. He doesn't care about legacy. Legacy doesn't pay the bills. And now, does Floyd Mayweather love boxing? I believe he does. He clearly loves it enough to dedicate his life to it. Does he love money? Of course, he clearly loves money enough to have it as his moniker. But Floyd Mayweather loves one thing more than money and more than boxing, and that is himself. And now, I know this seems overly critical of Mayweather, but at the end of the day, it's just a psychological assessment, or my psychological assessment of him. So, but there's a very fine line at the top of the top of the top elite level. Hatman has spoken about this. He famously talks about Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Sr. rather, my apologies. Chris Eubank Sr. says you have to be, you can't be you can't be 100% in the head to get to the top level. Conor McGregor also says, or once said, you have to be a little bit gone, the dedication to your craft to get to the very top. You can't be all there. You're a little bit gone, in his words. And now I can fully understand that, because boxing fans and sports fans in general, but especially in the boxing fraternity, people seem to forget that fighters are just human beings. They're just people, human beings. They wake up and they have a shit in a shower just like the rest of us. But, that's physically, but from a mental capacity, from a mental perspective, boxers, combatants in general, to get to the very top in a blood sport, a modern day gladiator sport, you do have to be a little bit delusional. You have to be a little bit detached from reality, because you're not only in a sport where if you lose or if you don't perform to the best of your ability, you don't just lose, you don't just, okay, on to the next one. You don't just lose the financial opportunities. You're potentially losing health. Every time you step in the ring, you lose some of your physical well-being. It gets chipped away. And on top of that, you have haters, people who don't know you, don't care to know you, but even still, they tear you down. Sometimes it's even loved ones, as sad as that may seem. You have aspiring boxers and their families tell them, don't bother, you don't have it in you, you're not a fighter, so on and so forth. So there's all this that people, that top level fighters have to deal with. And there is room for these narcissistic traits, because they can be the difference in preparation and in performance. But it seems to be that Mayweather, his narcissistic traits seem to be at the expense of the boxing world, because this damages the credibility of boxing in the eyes of a casual fan, because they don't understand the context of boxing. They don't have enough exposure to understand or have an informed perspective, if that makes sense. It damages the wider image of boxing. Us hardcore boxing fans who have been informed and been a part of the sport for years, we understand it's just Floyd Mayweather being Floyd Mayweather, but he was for a very long time a representative of the sport, and still is. Even fighters in retirement, they do continue to carry the boxing flag. But do they have the best interest of boxing, or boxing's best interest at heart? Personally, in this case, I don't think Floyd Mayweather does. So yeah, a little bit of a ramble, but I thought I wanted to explore this topic, which I don't think many people are really addressing. It's just the psychology behind these very strange, peculiar circus type exhibitions that seems to be becoming commonplace. But nevertheless, just my musings on this topic. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Something a little bit different. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'll be Intrigued to discuss this with anyone. Let me know what you think. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you dislike it for whatever reason, that's all good. Give it a thumbs down. And if you like the channel, why not subscribe? So yeah, thank you for listening, guys.